Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about piercings. I had a couple different people ask me about, what I do for care for mine, kind of pain tolerance. So we're just going to kind of go over all the different piercings that I have and the pain that each of them was on like scale 1 to 10 and kind of the at-home care and maintenance that I did on them. Yeah, we're just going to get right in. First off, I got my first piercings. They weren't gauged at all when I was like 10 years old, and later on I decided to gauge them. I did them a healthier way to where I didn't blow out my ears, so if I wanted to go back smaller, I could. I only moved up a size once a month, and I only did it if my ears could do it easily. I wanted to make sure that my skin was healing in between rather than just tearing it and tearing it and tearing it to where I had too much scar tissue to get it back down to normal if I wanted to. So my size right now is a ½ inch, and that is my max because I don't have a whole lot of extra skin here. So I'll be staying at this size. And then my second piercing, that one didn't hurt at all. I got that one when I was like 17. Yeah, basically same pain as the first one. And then after that, all of the rest of my piercings I got done at tattoo shops. So on my 18th birthday, I got my nose pierced, and I started out with a diamond because I wanted this to heal straight. I did the post on mine. And the reason why I say don't get a diamond is because the little prongs on it get hooked on things easier. And since you're not used to having something in your face, when you have something with prongs on it and you're not used to having something on your face, it hooks on a lot of things. So I actually ended up tearing that piercing, and it had to heal, and it took like a year for this one to heal, and I dealt with a lot of crap that I should not have had to deal with. So just keep that in mind. That one didn't really hurt a whole lot. My eyes definitely watered for that one because anything where it's like shooting through your face, especially in this region, is going to cause your eyes to water just because, sinuses and all of that. But that one was only a nightmare to heal because I started out with a diamond, so I would recommend like an opal starting out because it's a round surface like what I have down here, and it doesn't have any prongs on it, so it's going to lay flatter to your skin and you don't have to worry about it hooking on anything. So when I got this one, I also got my belly button piercing. That one did not hurt too bad at all, actually. That one just was a little bit irritating to heal because of like jeans and all of that. So if you get that pierced, I would recommend doing that like in the summertime when you're not going to have a whole lot rubbing it and when you're going to be in swimsuits and things like that. I did get a saline solution from my piercer, so I would definitely ask your piercer about that. My saline solution was just in like a little aerosol can. I sprayed it on after cleaning all the makeup and everything off of that area, and I also made sure not to put any on it while it was healing in the first couple weeks, so keep that in mind if you are getting a face piercing. So after that, my next piercing was my conch piercing over here. So this sucker, since the cartilage is a little thicker here, this one did hurt a little bit more a couple days after. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, it was probably like a 5. It really wasn't bad at all. Not compared to some of the other ones. So this one I would definitely say was on the lower spectrum of things. This one I would say would be around the same amount of pain as this. So both of them are around a 5 on the pain scale. Belly button, I don't know, with all the crap that goes on with healing a belly button, I feel like that one was closer to like 5.5, 6. If we're going to get into like a little bit more painful, I would say that, since it's so much more skin it has to go through. But honestly, it just depends on how well you take care of it, and be very careful with getting hooked on clothing because that does not feel good. This one's a post right now. I've had this one for like a year. This one I did get a diamond in because it sits inside of my ear, so I don't have to worry about hooking on anything, especially because I don't really have hair that covers that. So that one I wasn't really worried about it. And again, I'm planning on putting a hoop in this, but I wanted to start with a post so it could heal straight before I put a hoop in. I feel like there's a huge importance to getting a piercing starting out with a stud to where your piercing is straight and there's no imperfections in it, because a hoop is way easier to hide a flaw in it than a normal stud piercing. So make sure, even if you want a hoop in your nose or in your ear, you start out with a stud, because if you ever want to go from a hoop to a stud, you want to make sure that that's straight, and if you start out with a hoop, sometimes they're not. So after this sucker, I got this guy over here. Now this one I would probably have to say was probably an 8 on the scale of pain. That one was a pretty freaking painful piercing. So I went in expecting to get a normal industrial piercing. I had a consultation with my piercer and he said that was not possible for my ear. I don't have enough cartilage on this side of my ear for it to go through normally. So I'll zoom in here so you guys can see. But if you look, it goes through the back of my cartilage area up here. It bends and then it goes through the top of my ear. Now, this one hurt a lot more because when he went to do it, he pierced this part. He had to bend it while it was in my ear, and then he had to freehand the top. So the whole piercing took probably a process of 3 minutes to do the whole thing. And I'm not sure if you've ever had a piece of jewelry moved in a fresh piercing, but it does not feel good. And him bending this to go through that was a nightmare. But yeah, this one was probably one of the most painful ones to heal and to actually get done. But now I have no issues with it. I did have a lot of issues though in the year that it was healing, and these are a little bit more common to reject. Fast forward a couple months, I got this done here, this little guy. This one was definitely the least painful out of every single piercing I have. I honestly can say that I didn't even know he had pierced my nose. He was like, 1, 2, 3. I was like, okay. He's like, it's already done. So that one was probably like a 1 or 2, like on the scale of pain. That one did not hurt at all. And the reason why I started out with a hoop and not a retainer like a lot of people do is because I have a deviated septum. So this is another reason why you want to make sure you have a piercer that knows what he's doing. Because my nose, he had to do a lot of adjustments and tweaks before he could actually pierce through it. Because when I smile, my nose bends this way, and he wanted to make sure my piercing looked straight no matter what I had in my nose. So I'm very thankful that he took the time to map out what all that was going to do, and if I had enough skin to where it would lay right and not irritate me. So that is why I started out with the hoop, unlike most people. This one did not take long at all to heal. It maybe took a month or 2 before I could change the jewelry, no problem. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite piercings. I've had no issues with it. A lot of people ask me if I have a hard time like blowing my nose or anything like that, and really no, I can just move it out of the way without any problem. It doesn't hurt. It was honestly the least risk piercing. So if you're looking for a nose piercing that if you decide you don't want it anymore and you just want to take it right out, this is the best one to do because the hole's up inside your nose and nobody will know you ever had it. So I will link all of the places where I like to get my jewelry in the description box for you guys. They're really affordable places, good quality, and from all of these websites, and I love them. So make sure you check all of those out. So on to my most recent piercing. As you guys know, over the past like 2 weeks, I got my Medusa pierced. Now, if we're talking pain, this one was probably a 10. I've had a lot of piercings that you would think would hurt a whole lot more than this. This one was the most painful. So this piercing right here, I kind of anticipated that it would be painful. This is going through a muscle on your face, and it is going through a very thick area of skin. I also talked to my piercer if this would be possible, and he told me what to expect with this. He said I do have a very tight skin around this area, and as it's healing, I need to be careful because it can hook on my gums from where it has to sit between my teeth and gums, that little ledge, it can get hooked on that, so I have to be careful when I'm eating, when I'm talking, how much I'm moving my upper lip, things like that. But 100% this was the most painful piercing I'd ever gotten. Definitely brought some tears to my eye, but it's okay. My pain tolerance is pretty high, so just be aware of that. If it hurts for me and your pain tolerance is low, this might not be a good first piercing for you. I would say that this one has been one of the easier ones to heal. So he started out with a longer post, and if your piercer asks you, always ask for a longer post through it as it's healing in the first couple weeks, because my lip, like I have a good like 1/4 inch between the gem and my actual skin right now. When I first got it pierced, there was no space. My lip was so swollen, I was rocking a Kylie Jenner. Just keep that in mind. Don't get this if you're gonna have family pictures the next day. You wanna let it chill for a hot second. I also use saline solution on this as well to make sure I keep this clean. I also do not have makeup around that spot in the base of that piercing. In case you guys are wondering, I avoided this whole area of my mouth and like nose region. So when a piercing is healing on your face, make sure that you avoid makeup as much as possible as it's healing. You don't want to get anything inside of it and get infected. I've been there, I've done that. This is coming from somebody who's had a lot of freaking piercings, and you do not want any of that. We can get into more questions that you guys have in the comments down below, so make sure you leave those for me if you have any additional questions. Yeah, so another thing I wanted to mention, always listen to your piercer. If you go to somebody for a piercing and you have an issue with it, go back to that same person. Don't go to another piercer because they didn't have the consultation with you. They don't know what the other piercer did. You always want to make sure you talk to your original piercer about a piercing because they can answer your questions the best as possible, and make sure you do your research before you go somewhere. Yeah, my biggest thing is it is their job. They've gone through the training. They are the professional. Listen to them if they tell you a piercing is not possible. When I get a piercing done, I never bat an eye at it being expensive. I'd rather have it done right and done well and have a really good professional do that, since that piercing is going through your face or your ear or your body. You want it to heal correctly. You want to make sure it's done in a clean facility. So keep that in mind if you are getting any sort of body piercing. And listen to them on what is the best thing to do for at-home care. If you're having issues with it, contact them. Don't talk to me. I am not a piercer, and I'm disclosing that to you guys, so don't think that I know all about piercings. This is just my experience with piercings personally, so make sure you talk to whoever does those for you. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!